Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. Welcome to another stream with the Trollspeilet. Today we are going to talk about foundation for collection, sort of again, I guess. We're going to have a look at Dalton, Hannes' horse, who has all sorts of, what should we call it? Not trouble, but
Challenges?
Challenges was the word I was looking for. With regards to collection, and we will have a look at how you can localize those things, both in the sense of the word to find and in the sense of the word to make local, so you can sort of work on a one piece at a time thing. And at the same time we will look at how and why the whole thing can be worked on at the same time.
Yeah, because the history of this is that before Christmas, I said to you one of the streams, I said, yeah, and next time you can do pirouettes on Dalton, because I think that we had just done the P off, and then we were talking about what to do next, and then it might have been possible to do the pirouettes. We don't know. It was a little like that because we could do pirouettes on it, but it was like pirouettes.
Yeah.
It's, you can always let the horse fall to the side with his head in the air and with tension and everything.
Yeah.
We
can make him turn around on the haunches, or at least on the spot. That's not a problem.
But that is not what we want.
No, that's not.
So we want the horse to be over the back and with bent hind legs, and that horse has really got trouble with that.
Yeah, both of those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is that, when it's not, you can't say to people you mustn't try that because the horse is not ready. You must try and see what is possible.
Yeah.
And then the horse will tell you, this is not possible, I'm not ready yet. And then you find out what you need, what kind of building blocks that you need to sort of go back and build a little stronger, or a little more supple. And then you try again.
Yeah.
So today we are going to see what we've done since last time.
Yeah.
And where we are polishing bits and pieces, trying to stretch him where he's stiff, trying to build a little, not so much strength, because he's quite strong.
Yeah, he's quite strong in parts of himself. We will, I think we shall try and show where he's strong, where he isn't strong, and why he can't express his strength correctly, or soundly, you might even say. And we'll try and have a look at which kind of locks or blocks are in the way of getting it proper. Also, we will try to the best of our abilities to connect what happens on top of the horse to what happens in the horse, and we will find out which qualities are hindered by the rider or aren't brought forth by the rider. So there's a... Sorry?
Yeah. No, I was just waiting.
So there's a difference between the rider not being able to bring the horse along further than he already is, and the rider being the direct cause of the problem. And we find that the first is what most of the time happens. It is not so often the case that the rider is the reason the horse can't evolve in the way that the rider's body blocks the horse from moving or anything like that. It is possible, of course, but mostly it is about not having the qualities to bring the horse to be even better than he is.
And also,
you don't cause the faults, but you don't solve the problems either.
And I have that problem with the horse, and also when I have many places in my body where I'm weak, and this horse is very good at sort of exploiting that. So I'm not able to hinder him in doing the wrong stuff. And then that's so nice that I have you, because you're very strong in those areas. So we're going to look at videos with me. And then it's very easy to see the problems when he is doing his wobbling thing, because then I'm wobbling a lot.
Yep.
So, and then we're going to look into that. So, but we are very lucky that we are two, we're actually more than two, because we have lots of people working at our place that are good riders and helping us a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a very good thing to be several riders to ride a horse, because we can support each other, and where one rider has a weakness, the other riders can help with being strong in that area.
It takes a village to raise a horse.
Yeah, and that is also something that we are going to talk more about, that we are soon going to start showing more about the rider. We've been concentrating a lot on the horse for a long time, but we have a lot of skills in helping riders with that have...
With helping riders get better.
Yeah, and you know, and one thing is to say to the riders, you must sit still with your hands or with your legs and relax and stuff like that, straighten yourself. But when the rider is not able to do that, because something is stuck, yep, then there are many ways to solve that, and that we're going to do that later.
Yep. Definitely.
But we're gonna comment on that during this stream, I guess.
A bit, yeah.
Shall we? We're gonna start with some still
photos,
still pictures this time as well.
Mm-hmm.
I find it easier to explain the principles when we start with the still pictures.
Absolutely.
Shall we start with? Let's start with. I think one of these. Number 7, image number 7, is that, yeah. This is our daughter riding when she was little. This is Dalton, some years ago.
Yep.
What do you see, Pelle?
What I see in him at the moment, all right. In this particular image, you can see that the whole horse is downhill. Mm. It looks like his front legs are half as long as the rear legs.
Yeah.
His neck looks short compared to the rest of the body. And he is not very fond of bending that hind leg that's stuck on the ground there.
No, that stifle is very, very straight.
Yeah.
The hind knee.
Yeah. Other than that, he looks kind of soft in the outline, which is fine. Mm-hmm. No problem at all with that. And his neck doesn't look strong. His hindquarters look kind of strong. And his shoulders are kind of difficult to tell in this particular photo.
Mm-hmm. And we can, we're talking about looking at the other, at picture number 5, where the other hind leg is touching the ground. And then the hind leg is even straighter.
Yeah. How it is even possible to get your hind leg that straight is it's beyond me. But
that is Dalton's left hind leg.
Yeah, it reminds me of that feeling. If you try to stand up on the couch or on the first step of a staircase, and just jump from it and land without bending your knees, and the sound of all your cutlery falling out of the cloth.
Of the cupboards, yeah.
Of the cupboards and all that sort of stuff. And that is a little bit what it feels like to sit on. One of the things that's kind of funky with Dalton, and quite a lot of horses that have similar issues, i.e. the hind legs tend to straighten all the way out as they hit the ground. Mm-hmm. One of the things that you can feel is that just behind the saddle somewhere, you will see that the horse is completely loose. So the whole the whole hindquarters sort of just move around, while the back isn't influenced by that at all. So there is no energy transfer from the hindquarters forward, which is why he's on the forehand and all that, which we said earlier on, right? Also, you can see that the lower part of his neck, like the lower half from the shoulder forward, you can see that the underneck is pronounced. It's really easy to see that the musculature there is tense.
Bulging.
It's bulging as much as the top part of the neck.
Let's study that one. If we can look at the zero picture, that is
picture number 0.
Is a close-up of his neck. That is the muscle, or I've tried to mark where the muscle, it's called brachiocephalicus, with a Norwegian pronunciation. I don't know how you say it in English.
Doesn't matter, it's Latin.
It's if you look it up, it's easy to look up on the internet. And this muscle is, we always, when talking about it, we're calling the underneck.
Well, can you tell me where it, do you know where it attaches?
No, not exactly.
But it crosses...
in the back of the skull.
All right.
And I'm not quite sure.
But the back of the skull and then far down the neck somewhere?
Yeah, the sternum, I guess.
All right.
Yeah. I'm not very much into the details there. The only thing I know is that the only thing I work with are the tension in that muscle. And we're going to talk lots about that, because when we're doing the untangling that we have been talking about in an earlier stream, we're working with helping the horse loosening up in that, especially that muscle, because it is actually it's causing so much trouble in the whole system, because it is a direct antagonist to the top line.
That means that if that is very tense, it becomes very difficult for the top line to do its job properly.
Yes.
Right. So it's kind of, if the muscle on one side of the arm tightens, it's very difficult to have full power in the opposite muscle. Or you can have full power, but you can't move your joints, which is kind of difficult.
What happens when the horse? We're going to talk a lot about this now, but when this muscle, if the horse is using his body in the wrong way, that muscle will get so tight that it's becoming blocked. Like when you touch it, there are muscle knots there that are the horse is not able to move the muscle. It's blocked.
It's so hard. It feels like touching wood.
Yeah. So let's if you guys look at this this picture now, and then we're going to look at picture number 3. This is directly after I did the untangling on that muscle on this horse, and you can see the difference in his face as well.
Yeah,
he looks more relaxed in his face, and the underneck muscle is much longer.
Yeah, his whole neck looks like twice as long.
Yeah, and if we look at the picture number 6, that is from of the whole horse, you can see that the neck looks like stupidly longer than on the first picture.
Yeah.
Let's look at number 7 now. And you can see she's not holding the reins in tightly or nothing.
No.
The horse is like that when. And then number 6 again.
Yeah, he stretches out a whole load, and you can also see that his back becomes completely different.
Yeah.
So it is almost the exact same moment in the gait.
Yeah.
And in this one, you can see that his whole back is lifted.
Yeah. So
except maybe in the front.
His whole problem with he is tensing up his back so that so he lowers his back, and then the hindquarters becomes like detached from the body
Yeah.
almost, and then the hind legs become straight.
Yeah.
But the problem with him is that he does not know how to move with a relaxed underneck when he's got a rider up.
No, yeah, absolutely,
So
completely.
as soon as he gets a rider up, or even when he's playing in the fields,
Mm-hmm.
he starts tensing up his underneck muscles.
Yeah.
Right away, and we're going to talk about it. If we can look at the picture of me riding him, like picture 4, then you can see that he's piaffing here, and he's bending his hind legs, and the back is not that bad.
No.
But the underneck is bulging big time.
Yeah, and what you can, if you know very well what you're looking at, you can see that the near hind leg, the one that's nearer us, the left hind leg, he lifts it not up and forwards, he lifts it up backwards, and it swings out a little back.
Yeah.
It swings out a little bit to the
Yeah.
side, so he's sort of balancing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a balancé in the piaffe,
Yeah.
which is not, it's not correct. And
So-
you can also see that the neck looks kind of short and small,
Mm-hmm.
and the hindquarters look big and beefy.
Yeah, so he's very strong in his hindquarters, but he cannot use them to his best abilities.
No, he's
because
not very good at it.
Because the underneck is hindering him.
Yeah. So the whole thing about the underneck here, what we've gotten to so far now, is that if the underneck is tight, as we have shown in the video, in the pictures, when you see that part of the neck is bulging or is tight, and if you touch it, it feels like you're touching wood, that makes the back drop. So the horse is way too much lifting his hindquarters up, and his back drops, and you get that whole way too swayed back. That means he can't bend his knees properly, because everything then is so much stretched on the top, because the pelvis like that, and the back goes down and forward. This is crazy, exaggerated, but you get the point. So every structure that goes across here and is supposed to go back to the knee is stretched so far that it is almost impossible to bend the knee at all.
And it is about, it's all about how the horse starts to move. And the problem with horses that are tense in the underneck is that they're trying to lift their front legs with the underneck.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing. The way I think about it, I think that when the horse starts moving, the first thing he does when he moves is to lift the whole chest like that, and then it's the stiff, just tense underneck just drags the front leg along. It's not like the underneck lifts the leg forward, but it's the back just underneath the rider somewhere that just tenses up and then brings the whole front end up, and the nose and everything, and then so you can feel the horse start pulling at the bit. I heard one of our riders say one day that no, XXX horse name, the jawbone isn't the first bone that's supposed to move when you ride.
No, and then the whole point is, and we'll see that a lot in these videos that we're going to show today, that what we're trying to make the horse remember, because he's done this so many times, but he's so eager. He's like, okay, we're going to canter. Then I must throw my head up in the air, tense up my underneck, and then lift my front legs. No, Dalton, we're going to relax, and then we're going to use your top line, and then...
And move the jawbone. That's what it feels like, right?
Yes. And then if he's able to put his hind legs under and lift his back, then it's going to be easy to lift the front legs.
Yeah. The trouble is, with the hind quarter thing that I like to talk about how the hind
Yeah,
quarters
yeah.
work in
Please do.
these scenarios. So the whole that's the top of the pelvis. This is the pelvis, and then forward here will be the thigh bone, the femur.
Mm-hmm.
So when that is tilted this way, when the back is dropped so much,
Mm-hmm.
then there's so much tension
Yeah.
on the musculature too.
Mm-hmm.
Back there, it's the what do you call them? The hamstrings.
Mm-hmm.
They are attached there and attached to not atop the knee but below the knee. So
Mm-hmm.
they attach to the next bone,
Mm-hmm.
which means that if they're tight, they pull the knee back and straighten it.
Right.
Which makes the whole process very difficult because you want the horse to carry with the hind legs, of course. So that means that the musculature in the hindquarters needs to work hard, right? But if it works too hard, then it'll straighten the knee. And the straight knee, as it hits the ground, will make sure that the pelvis tilts the wrong way and exaggerates that back again. So the whole thing tends to roll either in the wrong or in the right direction. And
So
it makes it all... Sorry?
Yeah. So the horse needs to wait until it can stabilize.
Yep.
And then he can use his muscles.
Yeah.
But he can't use his strong muscles until he's able to stabilize in that position.
Yeah,
or else the whole thing will fall apart.
And then now we have to keep several thoughts really straight in our heads here. Hanne says stabilize, and we all think stabilize, right? But that's not necessarily the thing you need to do, because the first thing he tends to do is this, right? And that means there's too much tension in the top line, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, because
we want
tension
to-
is not the
want
same
him
as
to-
stabilizing. Right?
No, but it can be.
Yeah.
Say if you want to stabilize absolutely maximum, then the tension is absolutely maximum. Then it's the same. But as you move away from the absolute maximum towards something else, the tension becomes lower. The tension between the different muscles that, let's say, on two sides. This is apparent if you watch, let's say a supermodel walking. There is no tension anywhere, it just sways around, right? And then you watch Arnold Schwarzenegger walking, and there is too much tension. It just moves straight as a bar, right? And what happens with Dalton and many other horses that have these kinds of problems is that they use that back to do this, lift the front leg first. The rhythm is wrong, and when you do that, you have to let go in the lower back, or the small of the back at the same time. So you become more sway backed, and now you're not stabilizing with the core, what we normally refer to as the core musculature, the abs or the stomach muscles. So they can't now do their job. They have been told to not do the job.
They're out of the equation.
Yeah,
so to
and then
speak.
you have to drag the hind leg forward with something else. So,
And it's very
so that
difficult to-
closes the hip even more, and then the ball keeps rolling the wrong way. And you have to change the rhythm so that the horse moves the hind leg first. In order to move the hind leg first, you have to lift the back.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we should start on looking at some videos.
If there's a video ready, we could.
No, just two.
All right.
Which ones?
It says on the screen.
It says on the screen there.
All right, yeah.
Right.
We have had some problems with the video,
Let's see
so it takes a little time. But let's see, 7. Which one is that? This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So there are two pictures, the videos. Then let's start with
1907.
those are me and Dalton, and we're working with trot. Let's try the full size video. That is
They're done.
yeah. It was
Right,
me
cool.
riding not a long time ago. You can see that he really wants to raise his head and and do the job with his underneck.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to work really hard with my seat and sometimes with my half holds to remind him all the time that he must not tense up, because he wants to tense up all the
Yeah.
time.
It's
But it's much better than it has been before.
yeah. There's way more of a bend in the knees here than there was in the pictures we were looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's
But-
more relaxed in his underneck sometimes at least.
Sometimes, but the back is still dropped.
Yes.
So, and this is an important point, because to ask him to engage more means that he will drop his back more, and then you'll have to engage even more, and then I have tried to work that way and I couldn't get through. You have to go another route.
Yeah, and the problem with him is that you can't stretch him either. You cannot.
And you can stretch him, but nothing happens.
Nothing happens if you. I can stretch him. Let's see. No.
Now this is just the same clip.
Yeah, I know, but I was here, like there. That's the most he can stretch.
And it's kind of hard to see that anything happens at all.
I just give a little with my hands, and then he stretches a little, but just for one step or two, and then he's tensing up again.
Yeah. So, he kind of responds.
So, so what we are doing is that we're trying to stretch him, of course, but then we also do a lot of collection work, because that helps him actually to relax, to learn how to carry himself over the back in a small steps, shorten up, and then a little stretching.
Yeah. It's an extremely important point here, is that we talked about this in the very start of the stream today, that we will localize the problem. So we can localize the problem like this, say that the underneck is one of, or maybe the main perpetrator in this equation, and that makes the whole back tense. So it'll either be tense, or maybe even tense in some spots, and then completely loose in some other places, in order not to, what could you say, disturb the tension. Because some of the muscles want to stay in that completely tense configuration, and then you can't have anything come into that. So you have to, if this is all tense, then this has to be all loose,
that
right?
is important to understand.
So that is an extremely important point here.
And also,
but my point is that Hanne is saying we have to work on the collection as well. That doesn't mean that when we try to collect him, we believe that he is correctly collected. It means that we're trying to access the problem from the other side. So let us say, for instance, I try to have him bend his knees, because he's not very good at bending his knees while under load. He does that really badly, and that's the same thing as if I go into the gym and do an exercise that I never do. I'm really bad at it, and then if I train that a little bit, then that transfers into everything else that I do when I move around.
Yeah, and also it's been very difficult to make him stretch his stride. He's stiff in his shoulders, and he's not able to let that go until he's stabilizing in his whole body.
Yeah, and as long as the knee stays completely straight, it will be impossible.
Yes, but as I have understood it now, we have 1907 ready, and that you can see how, then I think we can see how I'm working on stretching him in canter.
Yeah.
You can see here I'm trying to take really small steps, and you can see he's tensing up, and then he must take half holds. I'm not sure if this is the canter one, but let's see. Really slow.
Yeah.
And yeah, And you see there in the canter, he's really trying to lift his front legs with his underneck.
Yeah.
And then it's very difficult for me to sit because he's so wobbly to sit on. It's
difficult
with
to
my,
sit. Yeah, sorry.
with my wobbly body as well. It's so difficult. But then I'm trying to take hold of his back and make the back move better. And now you can see that he's starting to concentrate a little more about the sort of his center of his body. And then it's possible to make him relax a little in his neck and stretch a little more forwards. Yeah, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's easier to sit on as well.
Yeah.
But I can't do it for a long time because then he's tensing up again. Yeah, his capacity
So
is...
his and yours, I guess.
Yeah, mine too as well. Yeah, of course.
So we have to watch this several times. This isn't so easy to see, but you can see that he tries to straighten that left hind completely out, and he tries to bring his hindquarters to the outside. Then she strikes off into canter, and it looks I can't find a rhythm at all. That's what it looks like in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm trying to do the rhythm for him.
Yeah, and she's moving her hips, but she's disturbed by his rickety movements, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that rickety movement makes it extremely difficult to influence him positively.
Yeah.
And this is important to understand. And then now he's starting to actually become rhythmic.
Mm-hmm.
And he's relaxing a bit more. You can see the neck become a little rounder and softer. It doesn't look like just locked into into the same position all the time.
Mm.
And sometimes your seat moves fluidly with him. Or he moves fluidly with your seat is perhaps a better way to say it.
Because it is possible, of course, to try to collect him more than this, but then he will, and you can do that because your seat is very
unrickety.
Unrickety. More like the Schwarzenegger type of stability. But that helps horses often when they're like more wobbly.
Mm-hmm.
And especially it helps horses that are thinks it's difficult to bend their hind legs.
Yep. Should we have a look at the next, the 3060 one? It's I looked and it's that one.
If it's ready.
Yes, it is. Here we go.
Oh.
So this is bending the knees, or it isn't, but that's what I'm saying. And he wants to just, does that mean I have to bring my whole hindquarters completely under with straight knees? And I say, not really. But he's going to try again and again, I believe. I can't remember the complete video, but that's the idea.
And the cool thing is that you take it very slowly, very easily, just wait. You wait until he is able to bend his hind legs. Yeah.
And it's just this short clip.
And he says, this is impossible, he says.
So what you can see is that it's not that I'm not pulling. You can see that, it's clear as day. And I don't have spurs, I have rubber boots, I believe. And he's trying sometimes to bring his whole hind end under because I'm sitting there with very stable midsection and saying, try. And then he tries a little. And for the last couple of strides, he bends his knees. Here you can see he straightens his knees completely. You see that? And then he pushes himself backwards. Excuse me.
And you can also see that he's not tensing up his underneck now.
No, but you can see just before the video stops, you'll see that he bends his knees just a little bit. He freaks out a little bit here, about here. Mm. Then he bent his knees. See?
Yeah.
Right. So he does try to bend the knees there. There might be a question.
Yep. So I have a question.
Oh, wow.
When he bends the knee, what's the difference in your seat? How can you feel the difference between a straight knee and the bent knee?
All right. That is actually, it is extremely easy to feel it. but it is not all that easy to explain properly. But there are a couple of different ideas. One is that quite often, not with this horse, but quite often when the horse has a very straight hind leg, you can feel like a jarring little impact every time the hind leg hits the ground. Unless you just shake it away in your own body. I don't, so I feel it in my brain. It just goes rattling instantly. That's one of the things. But if, like Dalton, the horse tends to have his just back hindquarters sort of wobble around for each other like that, then it's very difficult to feel because he insulates you from that jarring impact.
My horse tends to do the same.
Yes, he has sort of the same idea. But when the horse bends his knees, you can feel that he now lifts you forward in the stride instead of you falling a little bit back every time he puts his leg down. And sometimes it's just I think maybe, but it is quite consistent. And another thing that very often is the case is that it changes from feeling unsafe to feeling completely safe. And that is because the horse now starts to move where you want to move. So if you project your weight to some point in front of you, the horse will follow to that instead of falling to the side sometimes and all that. In the same idea, you can think about if the hind leg hits the ground too far to one side, it feels like you fall the other way. Right? So if the knees aren't bent, you have that same feeling that you're not falling the right way. And also you're falling.
You're not lifted.
Yeah. So the horse lifts himself into your seat and you feel safe on that like strong, powerful, but very soft and very easily controllable wave forward.
So it's still the lifting part.
The lift is always there.
Upwards and forwards.
And the weird thing is it feels like lifting no matter how low the horse lowers his haunches. And that is an important point to bring along because, oh, he lifts me, great. And the horse is just sitting there with his knees bent up like here and he's exploding all his muscles. And you're like, oh, this is great. And the horse is like, holy God, that was hard. So have a care on that one. That's an important point.
We got another video.
Do we?
Yeah, let's try the next.
Right. Roll.
This is as exciting for us as it is for you because I don't remember which movie this is, or video this is. This is 3069.
It's more of the same. We're trying to bend the knees, or I am. Dalton is trying not to bend his knees,
so now
of course. You can see, the weird thing is that every time he actually bends his knees, his whole back looks completely weird. All the energy goes in a strange direction, you see that?
Yeah.
And that is because he doesn't relax his back. The back stays tense. And for those of you who follow Hanne online on Facebook, you could have seen today a series of pictures where Hanne's back does this thing. But then today it didn't. It did the right thing. So we're only here localize the idea. He's trying to bend the knees and move at the same time. If he does, I'm happy. No matter what else weirdness he does. Well, sometimes he rears so high I'm not happy anymore, but that he's almost done with that. So we're trying to get a hold of particular problems in this particular horse. And
you can see that he protests and he shows Pelle that this is not okay. I think this is difficult. And that is important that he does, because if he is not allowed to come into that position where we can see where the problem is, we don't know where the problem is.
Yeah. So I just allow him to struggle.
Yeah.
And he struggles to get into that outline.
But the cool thing is that when you're riding like that, he's not tensing up his underneck.
No. And that is a very strange thing. He's not shorter here, I believe, than he was when you rode him. In the neck, at least. But my body has a completely different influence on this horse than your body has.
Mhm.
And for some reason, you and him are have similar problems.
Yeah, we have had it for all the time actually.
Yes, both of you had them
Mm.
at the beginning, and none of you
On
have
different
got
sides.
through it properly
Yeah, this
quite
it's
yet.
extremely difficult for us to help each other.
While what I do is I have a completely different set of problems.
Mhm.
And one of my problems is not that I am unstable. I am completely stable,
Yeah,
and
you're
that's
just
why
like a
he's
block.
that's why he's trying to sort of, but I need to step under here, and I say, oh well, you don't have to, but it would be good for me if you did.
Mhm. Let's see what the next video is. Let's just try it and see what happens. I think it's this.
Yep.
And that is good because that is when he's actually doing the piaffe. You see here.
Yeah.
Now he's really doing well, I think.
Yeah. Still, he becomes very wide behind and weird in his rhythm,
Yeah.
but he tries.
And then he gets his reward.
Yes, or now he can relax. I'm trying to be as soft as I possibly can all the time.
Mm. But it feels when he does things like that, when he concentrates like this,
Mm-hmm.
he relaxes in his back and his underneck and it relaxes. That is what we usually say. You need to have the horse to relax, or else he can't learn anything.
Yep.
Or he can't do the exercise properly when he's tense in the wrong way.
Absolutely not.
So then now he's trying
So you
as
can
best
see
as
here,
he can.
see here just before he's given the rein. Look how big his neck looks.
Yeah. And then he's actually
is
able
completely
to
different.
train his neck to become stronger as well.
Yes. A tense muscle does not look big.
No.
That's a
It
very
looks
strange
very
thing. It looks
small.
flat
Yes.
and hard.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that you can't flex your muscle to become big looking, but that is when it's doing its job properly and is allowed to shorten up the correct joints. And you can see that at just before he's given the rein, you can see how big his neck looks.
Yeah.
So don't pay attention to his legs now. It's very easy to do. I look at him all the time. But if you look at the neck now, when he comes into the right frame, just about here. So how big it looked.
Yeah. And if you
Cool.
look at the back,
Hmm?
when he's starting to you see the whole horse is starting to lift, and then that's because the back is starting to lift.
Yeah. And
Like about here.
Yeah.
There. He's trying.
yeah, it looks completely flat and much, much better.
Yeah. So the problem, the challenge of doing this is, you need to get his tense muscles to relax, and the muscles that don't dare to do anything because of the tense muscles.
Mm-hmm.
They need to start working,
Yeah.
and to get that, to make that happen, it's very, very difficult.
It is extremely
And it's
demanding.
difficult for him as well.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Extremely demanding.
So, but and usually we want to wait until the horse is really relaxed in all the gaits, you know, going through the gaits, relaxing in trot and in canter,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, to do all the transitions in a good way and stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work with this horse.
No.
No, because he needs to. You need to do some therapeutic riding and exercises that will help him find this combination to help him relax, so that he can relax in his shoulders, so that he can make more relaxed strides in the
Yep.
basic stuff.
Could we have a look at picture number 4 again?
The still picture.
Still picture number 4. So what I was looking at was, does his neck look big here? It looks short.
And the underneck definitely looks tense.
Yeah, and it doesn't lift the front leg properly.
No.
And no withers, no.
Mm-hmm.
So what we are trying to access things that the horse absolutely finds to be difficult. And we allow the horse to work on the difficult things, and we try to not ask him for too much. Also, you don't start by asking a horse that you don't know to do extremely difficult things. You can ask him to do things that, you know, you look at him move and then you say, can you move that a little bit more? Because that's always the way you should approach trying to improve someone's movement. The first thing you have to do is ask, is it possible for you to do this? And then you have to try a few different ways of explaining it and stuff like that. And when or if you can't, if that is impossible, then we will have to find other ways to approach that problem.
Yeah. So I was thinking, should we watch the 3325?
Sure.
It's actually the one from the last the stream when we were talking about the pirouettes.
Oh yeah.
And we can see how far he got.
See how close he got to his pirouette.
Yeah, so this is quite a good canter for him. You can see that he's more collected. Here you're collecting him and trying to ask for some steps in the pirouette.
Yeah.
And he's really tense. But he's he's able to do
he moves sideways a few strides.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns it into a small circle.
Yeah.
So it moves sideways,
Or you
sideways,
choose to
and
let him.
now it's or I'll allow a bigger circle instead of even more tension.
So as soon as you try to shorten him up, he is starting to use his underneck to lift his front.
Yeah, and you can see that. You see my legs fall forward. That means he drops his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's not because I try to bounce more. That is me.
No.
That's because
So-
his movement changes.
But I think this is a good example of how when you're trying, because we say to people, try to see if it's possible to move a little sideways a little travers in the canter to see if it's possible, and then you see the horse tenses up like that, then you know it was difficult for him.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that you should stop trying, because it's not bad for the horse to tense up a little.
No, he won't be hurt
No.
from tensing up a little.
No.
He will tense himself up way more than that himself,
Yeah, when
alone
he's up.
in his paddock,
Yeah.
or with his friends in his paddock even. And so we're not anywhere near any maximum exercise for the horse. That's not what's happening. But this is also an important point when you train strength or train with weights, and this is sort of training strength for the horse. It's also what do you call it? Coordination. But those two things are extremely closely knit. So when you train strength, you can say that I train maximally because I train until I can't move the weight anymore. That is one way of thinking about it. And another way of thinking about it, which is probably better for almost everyone, is to train until breakdown of the correct form happens.
Yeah.
So when you can no longer lift the weight within the correct confines of your movements, then the set is ended and you need a break before you go again. So we see with the horses too. We look at them. We look at Dalton when he tries to bring himself into travers type movements. You see that, excuse me, that his form breaks down almost instantly. But as long as he tries to do some elements of the exercise correctly, I allow it, and then I try to let him out of that exercise and allow him to find a better rhythm, a better movement, better bend in his joints, better outline, and then we try again. So we kind of dip into where, so we get close to that maximum thing, and then we go back to an easier movement where we can find the correct rhythm and better moving parts, so that we can go calmly into doing another set of the more difficult exercises.
Yeah. So we have had some troubles with the videos today, so it's taken a little longer than we had planned. So I'm thinking we're going to go a little over time, I guess, but we have many more videos to go. So I would just talk to our technicians and say that we could skip some of the ones in the middle and just take some of the last ones in the end. So
I have 4684 coming up.
yep, that
Which
is
one is
good.
that?
46. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one more with me.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, that is okay. But then we could just go to some of the 49 ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just a couple of those, and then I think we'll okay. It will be okay. But we can, in the meantime, we could just watch that last one once more, because I think it's the 33, 25. It's still interesting to see how he's quite okay in his canter here. So what you're doing is, if you do this a little, and then go as you do here, you go forwards again, try a couple of steps, and then you go forwards again.
Yep.
This is a way to train, to let him see that it's not, you don't need to panic because you must try to carry a little more and go a little sideways with your hind legs. You see? And then he relaxes again.
Yeah. So twice he relaxes again. So first I find a rhythm and a stride length that I know this I can turn into something looking like a pirouette.
Yeah.
And then he drops out of it and I ride him out of that circle, and then when he tries again, because I want him to listen,
And
then I ride him back out and he tries to stretch into the contact again.
yeah.
So he does pretty well.
And of course this was when we were trying to get a video of it, so it becomes a little like I know that you become tense when there is a camera around, and also we tried to get it like in a short video, but what in the practice we will do it more like over more time.
Obviously.
Yeah. So, and also in this video it could seem that it's like, oh no, we couldn't do it. No, he actually tried for a couple of steps.
Yeah, he does good.
And that is very good.
Yeah.
And then we have to do it again and again, and then he will gain confidence, and he will understand, oh, is this what we're trying to do? And then he will do it more and more and more.
Obviously, this isn't a finished pirouette that we would take to any competition.
No. No, and that horse is never going to a competition anyway, because he's like 18 years old, and he's going to be my sort of medicine horse that I'm trying to.
He's a medicine man.
Yeah, he was bought to be my handicap horse.
Yep, and he's done that job.
He's been excellent.
Admirably.
Yeah. So now I think we have another one.
Something coming up here.
Yeah, and it's another. Let's see, 48.99. That is.
It's this one.
Oh yeah. This is about untangling, actually.
Yeah.
It's,
So
yeah, you can talk about that.
yeah, so I'm just sitting here. I'm not even touching anything, while a woman in one of my wife's clinics, the untangling clinic, she is leading the horse around while untangling him, while telling him you need to relax this muscle.
We've done
So
that
it's
a lot.
that muscle that Hanna was talking about, the B one.
Yeah. the brachiocephalicus.
That sounds like thunder to me.
Yeah, it's
Brachio something.
yeah.
Brachiosaurus. So what I'm doing here is just letting my hips go, trying to stay fairly stabilized, and I was feeling how he changed, and he changed his gait several times during this not necessarily in this short clip. You can see actually in the I'll show you in the next time we move around here. Here we go. You see he's a little bit hasty in his stride. He pulls his head up, and now he starts to stretch here, and he moves much calmer, but only on one of the hind legs.
Yeah,
So he pulls his leg up on one hind leg and not on the other.
And the important thing about doing this is that it's teaching the horse in a physical way to, it's not, you know, when you're treating a horse like osteopathic treatment or something, you're doing that when the horse stands still.
Yep.
So he doesn't learn how to change his movement. But when you do it like this, what she does is that she's keeping her thumb on the one of the places in the muscle that he is tensing up.
Yep.
So when she's holding tight on that muscle, and then when he moves, he will feel that it's not a good thing to tense up in that muscle, and then he will try to relax. And you need to do that over time, so that when he's moving, he's trying out. You know, when you're moving, the nervous system will feel the environment and adjust according to the environment. And that finger will be part of the environment and giving feedback to the nervous system, and saying that you might want to try to relax in this muscle while you're doing this movement. And the horse will try that. And when he tries it and finds that it actually helps in the back as well, you will gradually get a change.
So the horse relaxes more in the tense musculature, and then the musculature that should have done more work will then be able to do this work.
Yes.
And that's and you can feel it when you sit up there. So I thought that was a very interesting thing, that we were able to actually do the same thing while sitting up. So I sat up there and did nothing, just folded my hands and waited. And I could feel the horse change underneath me in ways he doesn't if there is nobody there to do that. Very interesting.
Yeah. So we have some other videos as well about how you were training after that, and we can see if we get one of them. And I don't think we need to see all.
No, not at all.
Because I think that we have been able to show how this underneck muscle is important. Of course, it is important to. It's there for a reason.
Yes.
No muscle is in the way. But it's all about the balance between all the different muscles, and they need to coordinate in a better way. And sometimes the horse or the human is sort of come into a dead end or something, and you need to pull them out of that dead end and start in a way that is possible to coordinate in a better way. Yeah,
it's a very important thing.
So
I want to emphasize that one of the takeaways from this particular installation of our stream is that when the horse already has a problem, so this is correctional. This is not something that you will have to do with every youngster out there.
No,
you're supposed
usually
to,
not.
The point is that if you train a youth or a kid in a good, varied way, then they will develop well. And the same happens with the horses. But this horse has not developed perfectly. Oh well, there is a problem.
He was about to be put down.
Because he was saved from that.
Yeah.
And after he had been saved from that for a while, we got him. And we tried to keep saving him. Is that what you do? I think that's what it's called.
Problems.
So, but my point is that you have to sort of attack the problem from several different sides. So even if Honey is very, very good at allowing the horse to relax his back and stretch his neck and be soft, and her hand is way softer and more sensitive than my hands are when I'm riding, she's still not able to make him bend his knees.
No.
So we have to
especially when
sort of,
he's not, when he's difficult at that. It's no way that I can do.
So and that is because she doesn't have the.
Stability.
It's not that she does have the capability. She's able to do it, but she doesn't have the capacity to change him when he moves that much wrong.
He's rattling me big time.
So in that, it's important then that we understand that you have to take away the stuff that gets in the way of moving correctly. So if the tension in the underneck makes it so that the horse straightens his knees, then we have to take that tension away before we can ask him to bend his knees. And then when we are able to take the tension away, that doesn't mean that he bends his knees of his own volition. It just happens. So we have to try and make sure that we can access the problems from different directions all the time.
So
What
we
is,
have,
there's one more coming, is it?
yeah, it's and I think we can do that, and then we can finish.
Yeah.
So then we can see that in one example of the things that we're doing to, vary the training so that he can, we can help him from all kinds of directions.
Yeah.
Because he needs to relax in his back and his shoulders, because that is the reason why we can't just, do trot extensions on that horse. We can't even do normal trot, because then he's tensing so much up in his shoulders.
Yeah. So you have to keep him within his capabilities and capacities.
So that he doesn't feel pain or troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's an important thing here is that we the same ideas apply to people. So one of the things we're doing that we maybe haven't sort of touched on is that when he relaxes his neck, then that is the only thing that has happened. He has relaxed the neck. That doesn't mean that he has trained to move that way at all. Like you said, there's a difference between just treating the problem while the horse stands still and treating the problem while he moves.
Yes.
And the extreme of that is that I have managed sometimes, after being untangled, to go straight into the training room and set a new personal record in a lift. And when I've been able to do that, then my whole way of moving changes. Directly after that, I don't move that wrong way that much anymore.
And after that, you're different.
Yeah. But you have to push save, which is that big.
Yeah.
You have to lift heavy. So that's also one of the reasons you have to sort of switch it up a little bit. There's another.
Let's take that
the last little video is up, from what we understand.
And you can see here that he's actually foaming in his mouth. And he doesn't do that. The horses don't do that until they're over the back. So he's starting to engage. And then you can see he's blowing his nose.
Yeah.
That means that he's starting to relax in those parts where he's tense.
Yeah, you can also see that I have my legs in a different position.
Because he's coming to the contact to your legs.
Yep.
And this is
and then
very
he tries to move along with his straight knees again and again.
But this is a very good exercise for horses like that. And you're doing that a lot when you're training him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like an exercise, does it? But
no,
he needs to do things slowly like this.
Yeah.
Because if you just ride forwards, he will tense up.
Yeah.
and you need to wait until he's ready to move forwards, starting from the hind legs.
And there are many things about this that are really difficult to do right. You can see that quite often he just pulls away on the bit, right? And he needs to be allowed to do that. And it's really difficult to be fast enough, and when he does pull at it, or quite often he'll move around at the same time, which makes everything horribly difficult. But that's fine. I just have to allow him to do that, and I have to allow for myself to look like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because afterwards he will be very fine to ride. I know this.
And some people will perhaps ask about the bit. This is the Portuguese pelham, and it's very soft. And this is the bit that he prefers.
Yep.
He is very happy with that one. He's the first time we had the dentist for him. She said that he has a big scar across his tongue where the bit is supposed to be. So he has been in some past. He's been having lots of trouble with the bit. So this is if he likes that bit, he will have it.
Yeah.
So
we've got one bonus video.
Yeah.
For show 4902
let's
as well.
see.
And then we'll call it a night because we're on overtime.
Oh yeah, here
All right.
is a pirouette in walk.
Yeah. So
And
this is a thing that when the horse can't do it at the canter, then we'll try to do it at the walk or trot. But trot pirouette or piaffe pirouettes are very difficult.
But it's easier for him than the canter pirouette because he can be quite relaxed in the piaffe.
So he actually is fairly soft in his hind legs here some of the time, but he wants very badly to straighten them completely out. And I'm trying to the best of my ability to be so soft and relaxed and calm and try to keep him collected.
And sitting in a very stable way.
Oh yeah.
That is so important because when he's moving, this rattling in his back like he usually does, and when you're sitting as solidly as you do here, he is not allowed to rattle that much.
Nope.
And then he needs to do something with his hind legs instead of rattling with his back.
Yeah.
So it's not about what you do, but it's also how you do it that is important.
It is, absolutely. And in some of the videos coming up, we will be looking at how to move when you're a rider, how to improve on movement as a rider, all sorts of stuff like that. So if you have any questions about how to improve your seat, how to improve your flexibility, your strength, your what kind of strengths are important for riding, where do you need to be strong, how do you train that? If you have questions like that, fire away. Send them here to us so we can put them and integrate them into our streams, and you will be rewarded with the very long-winded answers about themes that we love talking about. I think that's all we have for today. So we want to thank you all for coming along and for being patient with us when there was some trouble with the technical stuff today, but I think we got through it rather well.
I think we got to say what we wanted to. We have some more videos about exercises.
There was a lot of videos.
Yes. Yeah. So, but they will take. I think we got the message through anyway.
Right. See you next time.
See you.